Welcome, everyone, to the Feminine Outliers podcast, your dose of fun, life advice, and experiences from two African professional women living and working in the Western world. We are your hosts, Choolwe
And Zelda, what's up?
and we are excited to have you here. All right. I'm very excited for this episode this week. Um,
Right.
but before we get started, we always try to catch up and see what we have been unlearning. So I'm going to pass it on to you, Zel. What have you been unlearning this week?
So I would say what I'm learning is caring too much about what others think, because that can really hold you back. And this is going to sound bad. But for example, we've just started our podcast. And I'm not going to lie, it makes me feel a little bit anxious to post our post it on social media, at least for me to post it on my social media, because one, I don't post much on social media, um but
Mm-hmm.
it's just realizing that when I eventually do post it, it's going to be putting it out there that, hey, we're doing a podcast and go ahead and listen to it. And I'm not sure how people will receive it, but in my head I'm just like, but I'm holding myself back, and I'm holding us back from getting more views or reaching out to more people. So I'm trying to tell myself, just do it. You know, you have to get out of your comfort zone to actually grow or for things to happen. So in my head, I'm like, it's okay. It doesn't matter really what people think. I mean, unless it's constructive criticism,
Mm-hmm.
you should just go out there and try. Because if I don't, the first step is actually just trying and going from there. So that's what I'm unlearning today.
No, that is a good one. And I think it's safe to say that this podcast has definitely structured us and made us realize our strengths and our weaknesses and how to like really set up our schedules to be able to do it. Um
Right.
and so even just having to like learn how to put up a podcast, to fail, and then having to do it again and just picking ourselves up. I think there'll be moments where I have given up, and then Zil, you come in and we're like, no, 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 let's figure it out, and I'm giving up. But then, so definitely made us, um, I don't know, just resilient. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so no, I totally I totally get it. I was actually the same way. When we launched, I was like, I can't believe it's out there and people are now gonna know my business, or people are gonna know what I think about just, just the way I see life and just sharing my opinions. And it's funny because a friend of mine called me and was like, "Oh, I didn't know that you you believed in this and this, or you did this and this." And I was like, "Yeah, but I guess it's not." When we're having conversations, you're close to your friend, it's not like you're going to be going back all the way to your past and being like, well, let me tell you my college history. So he got to find out a lot about me through the podcast. But I think we genuinely want to share what we are experiencing, and hopefully it can help other people, or can nudge people to not be afraid, right?
Yeah.
To do whatever they desire. So yeah, that's a good one. Um, so and maybe it will also have, at some point we'll have to learn, if we do get uh criticism, or not so great feedback, we'll probably have to learn how to deal with it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I totally understand. For me, it's funny. We didn't discuss what we were going to talk about in terms of what we are learning, but it's similar. Um, what I am unlearning is not following another person's path. But I feel like it was similar to what I had mentioned previous episodes ago. But I am I am realizing that it's worth chartering your own course um, in terms of deciding what you want to achieve or deciding which path you want to go. And I know many
Hmm.
people would say, even myself, it's taken me a while to just be comfortable with that idea. And for me, I just did not believe for a while that you can charter your own course, because a lot of people will say, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I wasn't born in the right family, and maybe even nationality, I don't know, so pe- people would have these reasons. But I'm starting to realize that, well, it starts with your vision, like it starts with how you see yourself and how you see yourself in the
Right.
world. And that is very powerful, and it I believe it's like God given. And so it's that vision is way stronger than anything in the world. Um and so you start with whatever you have right at hand,
Hmm.
and then you keep doing that thing that leads you to like the next step. Or pretty much life is a journey. So if you have a vision that you're trying to get to, with whatever you have, you start making those like kind of like a staircase to the vision that you have created. Despite what seems against you. And I think even just like with this podcast is a very, very good example. I know this podcast came about because Zell, you were like, one, we talk too much. Um, let's just call it what it is. And we are spending hours and hours on the phone. And instead of just having the conversation between the two of us, why not create an audience, and why not bring other people into our circle? And we want to learn from you guys as well. So it was just kind of like, let's build on that. And then the journey was actually pretty interesting because I actually decided, no, I can't do it, I'm too busy. And I was actually relocating to the UK. And then again, I was like, then it dawned on me, I was like, wait, let's really do the podcast. And so the vision was always there, even though there was a pause, because I knew that I wanted to do something like this. It
Right.
but the vision was there, and surprisingly, even if we're not in the same place, it's still taking place, which is amazing.
Amazing.
I know. It's actually funny because when we were geographically closer, we weren't as committed to like this podcast, or I guess we try to be. But then now I'm like, we're miles apart, but we're actually closer. And even I think
We're an ocean apart.
I guess we're an ocean apart, right? We're an ocean apart, but we're even closer. So anyway, I say that to say, um, the key thing is keep your vision, even if it doesn't seem like you are getting there. Every step counts. Even when you step backwards, you are still gonna. Who knows how you're gonna move forward. So don't judge the process. Just just keep your vision. So
Sounds good.
you're like right. Okay. Um no rebuttal, like we're just gonna move on. Um
I don't have anything to add. I think you've summed it up pretty well.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Well, okay. So, what is our topic for today? Our topic, drum roll, please, do, is about hair. Yes, hair. So it sounds rather random to say we're going to talk about hair, but um, and just about 2 episodes ago, we were talking about our personality, and we focused on being introverts versus being extroverts, and we kind of went into detail of just what it means or how people perceive these two different types of personalities. And I I realized, like, in the past few weeks I've been bombarded with conversations around hair, and I was like, okay, let's really dive into this, because I I just don't know. I just want to put it out there. I don't have any specific um idea or like pathway as to like what I want to talk about, but I just want to put out what I'm thinking. I want to hear Zil your thoughts, and then just keep it going. And I'm somehow thinking that there could be another episode about hair. It might not be the next one, but just like I'm just thinking it's such a big topic.
It
As
is.
I know, right? Especially for like us as I don't know, like like our backgrounds, and just
Hmm.
how hair was handled growing up, and just how we view hair now. And I know there's been a natural hair movement um, that I'm very grateful for, and just kind of yeah, there's been a lot of movement in this space. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I mention the word hair? So,
I mean, I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is, I guess, it's my childhood. Uh,
oh, okay.
Growing up, because growing up, I've always been someone who likes long hair. Always.
Ah,
It's
okay.
been a thing. Like, I remember when we'd go to the salons and my hair would get braided, because I was a kid, and a lot of the hairstylists would think, okay, just give her, when they add the braids on, they're like, just give her enough braids and don't make it too long, because they don't want to keep me sitting for too long. I remember there's
Mm.
a time, it happened multiple times, in which I looked at the braids and they were not touching my butt. They were like mid-length, and I cried, and I
Oh,
was like, no,
wow.
this cannot happen. Until my mom told them, you need to add extensions to make sure they go down to her butt.
Oh, wow.
And I've always just been obsessed with like long hair. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've never been someone who necessarily really struggled with hair per se, in regards to, my hair was permed for most of my life. Like, I think it was permed ever since I was a child. Um,
Mm,
but my hair has always been, I would say, bra strap length or something like that. I've seen a lot of people, like, growing up in Kenya, who like would struggle with just even getting their hair past their shoulders.
mm,
That was never my issue. My hair was always past my shoulders. But for me, it was not long enough. So everyone would look at me like, your hair is so nice and stuff and healthy. It was permed, and I'd perm it twice a year. I only put chemical on twice a year, and it was really healthy and stuff. But no, for me, long hair needs to go down to the butt. It needs to be like really long. And
mm-hmm,
so I didn't have, based on like the African standards, I had nice hair. But for
mm-hmm,
me, I always wanted longer hair. I don't really know where this came from, to be honest, because I don't remember like what we used to watch and stuff at home. When I was young, it was just a lot of cartoons. So I think it was mostly when I was older, when I started watching more um, shows, like American shows that have things to do with hair. And that's when I remember seeing like Black Americans, and I noticed that I remember saying, "Oh my goodness, they have such beautiful hair. They have such beautiful hair. Like, how is it their hair
mm.
is so long?" And I did not realize that their hair, that was not their hair. It was It was wigs,
Oh
but
yes.
the wigs had been done so nicely and seamlessly that
Mhm.
it looked like their hair. And this was me as like, I was still like maybe 13, 14, and I was like, how
Mhm.
is it the hair is that long? I didn't realize that people can do wigs that well back then.
Mm.
So that was like literally me growing up. So like growing up, it was my hair was mostly permed and stuff. It was, and there was, I guess, also growing up in Kenya because I would see a mixture of people with natural and permed hair, and it
Mm.
never was much of an issue in regards to like politically wise, or how the natural hair community came up and people are like now like basically saying we want our hair to just be I want natural hair to just be normal and look normal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, natural hair looks normal, permed hair looked normal because from my perspective, growing up in Kenya, it wasn't a big deal. Now,
Mhm.
someone who from what I've heard, for example, grew up in Nigeria, I know in Nigeria there's a huge wave more so towards permed hair and not show your natural hair. Like they're more like, no, it's better to have straight hair. But I don't think it was like that in Kenya.
Mm.
Like people had permed hair, people had natural hair. Like basically what I'm trying to say is I never really thought about why I had permed hair. I never thought like I was having permed hair to straighten it out because it looks more appropriate in the Western world or based off Western standards. It never occurred to me why. To me, it was just normal. Permed hair
Mm.
was just normal. And when I see people with natural hair, I was like, natural hair is just normal. There was nothing that was really abnormal. I never attached it to um, any kind of political association or any other association. It was just hair. It's not until
Mm.
I came to the States when you start to see, I think that was around the time the natural hair movement started coming up. It's just when I started to see, there's actually, I guess, a lot more to hair than meets
Mhm.
the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's very interesting. Um, it's interesting that you brought up the idea of like wanting long hair. I'm actually curious. Did you think your own hair could grow all the way up to your butt?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's good. Um, that's good. And you just I guess you added like, when you were doing braids, you had like, you knew like that was just braids. Those were extensions. But your own
Hmm.
hair, you believe that could grow. I mean, that's healthy that you thought that way. Because the thing is that some people do or do not. I don't know what it is right now, but the way when I think of hair growing up, it was like having the kind of hair that we do have. It was like this thing that you had to like manage, or it was just this thing that you had to lock into braids, or you cut it off. It was difficult to comb. It takes so much time, and it's just I don't know, like it never like I think I grew up not having um I guess a positive association with African hair. I I mean, a lot of people would tell me though that I had good, quote unquote, good hair, and I guess it was because it was soft. Um, it just was manageable, meaning that if they put a comb through it, the comb could go through without having to like push my head or pull the comb, or um
Hmm.
so I just remember every week. And the other thing I remember is that hair, we had to deal with it, like if you're depending on your hairstyle. My mom would go to the hair salon like every week. So it was something that you dealt with over the weekend, you because you're getting ready for school or for work. And so going to the hair salon on Sunday, for example, was a ritual. But for
Mhm.
me, I I did not actually have a relationship with my hair until after high school because um, I had to make the decision of either braiding it, um, or having like cornrows, or just cutting my hair. So I think my mom gave me a couple of options, and I chose cutting my hair. So I had very short hair for a very long time.
Oh, yeah, I
So
remember a picture of you with
I
the short hair.
know, so
Oh my goodness.
cute.
If that happened to me, I would be like dead. Like I can't. Like you can't.
Uh, oh my goodness. No. So while you were dreaming of getting your hair all the way to your butt, I was like, what hair? Where? I can't see anything. Um yeah, no,
But
I did.
what were you saying? But what did you mean by you didn't have a relationship with your hair? Like you
Like,
had a
I guess I did. I guess my relationship with my hair was I would cut it really short. I remember, I think even people used would be confused, like, is she a girl? Is it a girl, boy? Like, oh, what's going on here? Because it was that short. And then when it grows any longer, it would be kind of like it would be an afro, and then I would cut it again before like the school term starts. So it was sort of like cut my hair grows a little bit, cut it. So I never got, so I want to say I didn't get my hair all the way up to my shoulder length until I started growing it out. So I guess the relationship, you're right. My relationship was with my hair was that cut it when it grows, and then yeah, just put some hair lotion and go to school. So yeah, so that that was my I think that was my attitude towards hair. um but the thing about it now, I'm in a position where I am growing out my hair. um and when my hair started growing, I was faced with the options right away to, okay, I have the option of braiding my hair. A lot of people told me not to perm my hair, so I just said okay. I didn't even know, like, okay, why. In my head, I think I was just thinking, okay, it's gonna damage my hair. And as you
Mhm.
put the way you were putting it, actually makes me think like there are probably some pros and cons to perming your hair. Um, but I just went straight ahead to say I'm gonna do braids with my hair. And then even in terms of like how long to keep my braids, I I was a little bit careless with that. I was like, I had braids on for like 6 months um at one point because I was in school. I mean, I used to wash my hair and everything, but I just did not want to find the
Disclaimer.
find yeah, just to find the time and the space to find a hairstylist to undo my hair.
Was this
uh
when you were already in the States?
Yes, this was when I was actually, yeah, this was when I was in the
Okay.
States. I'm Miami. So I just was like, I don't have time to do my hair. Technically, I should have taken a break after 3 months, but then I was like, why? Um, and it was only after I graduated, because I would do this every like maybe semester, but I think it was only after I graduated when I said, okay, now I'm going to just look after my hair. Like, what I mean was that I was going to just um let my hair out, not have any braids, not have any extensions. And eventually I found out that I did lose some of my hair on my edges, and I was like,
Mhm.
no, 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 I need to like work to grow that back. And so I just started focusing on that, and that got me curious about like how do I actually look after this hair. And it was my first realization that I didn't really know how to look after my own hair. And from then on, I've just been very curious and just been on this journey of exploring my hair and like just hair in general, and what's really best for me. So
Hmm.
um yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I don't even know what I was doing with my hair in Miami. I don't even remember, to be honest, if my hair was permed or not. I don't remember when I switched to natural. Because in Miami, most of the time my hair was in braids, but I would have someone do my braids halfway through the semester. Jackie, shout out to you, Jackie Kamazima. She would be the one to do my hair. Um,
Ah.
like halfway through the semester, like I'd always have it changed and stuff. So maybe that's when I started my natural hair journey. I think it must have been sometime in Miami. Um, but I decided to try it just out of like why let's just see how it
Mm.
would look. Actually, I think the big thing that caught me with natural hair was that the way they were saying, "Oh, your hair can grow so long if it's in its natural state." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I decided to go natural. I'm like lies. Honestly, I feel like if I kept my hair permed, my hair would be so much longer right now. I mean, there's a lot of other factors
Mm.
affecting it, including my anemia, but whatever.
Yeah.
But the that's literally I think the reason why I decided to try go natural. And I was like, let me just see because anyways, if I don't like it, I can perm my hair. So I've been natural since then, and I'm not gonna lie. I personally remember my hair life being so much easier back home in Kenya than here. And I think part of it also is because my hair was permed. So like for
Mm.
me, I'm a very, very lazy hair person. Like I think honestly, my kind of style for hair is really good for natural hair because I like the least amount of work, manipulation. Like I just want to put
Mhm.
it in a bun and go. The problem is our hair shrinks. And you know I have 4C hair. 4C
Mm.
hair shrinks a lot. So in order for me to actually get it into a bun, you might have to stretch it out. But like my ideal hair, when I think about natural hair, is like hair to my butt. But it's a kind of hair that it's like if it shrinks, I can
Mhm.
still put it in a messy bun without holding it, and I have a huge ass bun. Like
Mm.
it's so big. Like I don't have to do anything. Like I don't want to have to stretch it out, straighten it, do any of that. I just want to put in my products, hold, go. Now,
Mm.
there's a couple of problems with that. One, I do believe, yes, I will definitely get to that point. But the problem is, 4C hair, if I leave it like that, it's going to get so tangled.
Mm.
It's gonna become unmanageable. And I didn't realize that. Like, so I see why people kind of stretch it and keep it stretched, keep at least 4C hair stretched out because it's
Mhm.
so hard to like, if you just do that, it's gonna be so hard to manage. And I think for me, that's been part of my struggle with hair because I need the least amount of work. Like I need the easiest hairstyle possible. And like when my hair was permed, like after the perm and stuff, if I wash it and stuff, you just quick blow dry, hold it up, and you have a cute ponytail and everything. And it was just like it was too simple and easy.
Yeah.
Combing it, I could like put a comb through my hair, and I don't have to struggle. So for me, that
Mhm.
was easy because you know how people do all these natural hair stuff, like and they do all the wash and goes and all that stuff. My
Mhm.
goodness, I have zero patience for that. Like, I don't even want to deal with that. And so it's been
Mm.
so hard dealing with that up till now because from the time I went natural at some point in my life in Miami, and then medical school. Medical school, I also took care of my own hair. But when I was in Grenada on the island, I would go and get it done in a hair salon or I'd have someone do it. But then, like when I went to New York, I mean, I would have someone braid it, but for the most part, like washing, conditioning, and all that was always done by me for
Mm.
this past few years. And it was a lot of work. Like, it's one of those things in which you think about wash day and you honestly just dread it because you have to take up a whole half a day of your life to just wash your hair. And in my head, or just not to wash your hair, condition, deep condition. In my head, I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Like, why do I have to do that?
Yeah.
And that's just honestly how I felt and how I feel. And it's it bugs me. So now that I am working and I can afford it, I've started going to a hair stylist to do my hair. And it might still take time to deep condition, wash and stuff, but at least somebody else is doing it. And I'm just sitting
Ah.
there like, I don't know, reading a book or my iPad or falling asleep because I was half asleep the last time this happened. At least someone else is
Mm.
doing it. Because I think personally for me, I just lose patience. It's tired
Ah.
and it's a lot of work. Like you put your hands up, you're trying to pull it, like gently tug on your hair. It's just a lot of work. And I think for me that's my pet peeve with natural hair. And someone else listening to me might just be like, well, you clearly don't know how to manage your hair. Someone might say that, which I wouldn't say, I wouldn't disagree with, but I also wouldn't agree with that because I think I've
Mm.
generally learned like what my hair needs, but it's still a lot of work to me. Like for
Yeah.
me, it's the simplest thing, like just put in product, go, and your hair is fine. It doesn't have to get tangled up, it's perfect. But that's not the reality. And
Yeah.
that has been a struggle for me because it's particularly a struggle when my hair is out because I've always been one of those people who I braid my hair most of the time. In between braiding sessions, I like to give my hair at least a 2 week break.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I
Yeah.
have to go to work during that 2 week break, OMG. In my head, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about what hairstyle am I going to do? How's it gonna look? You know how like I think
Mm-hmm.
like my go to is like slick the hair down and put it in a bun or like in a
Mm-hmm.
ponytail and like maybe add on hair or stuff like that. But the problem is getting this 4C hair slicked down, like slicked down. Like I
Yeah.
watched videos and people like it takes a lot of work and like it takes a lot of like sectioning. You put gel on this small section, then you add another one. In my head, I just want to do once and go,
One.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't slick down properly. So basically, it's still not even easy to do. That has been
Yeah.
my issue with the hair. Like
I
I
get
want
it.
something that's low maintenance.
Yeah, I get it. As you were talking, I was like, it does take a lot of time. And and I'm wondering if also the amount of time that it takes is it's coming to this realization within our own community that if we're going to have to diligently and look after our hair really well, it's just going to take a lot of time. um because even when I, like, for example, watch these YouTube videos, shout out to YouTube University. um
We love
oh,
YouTube
I
University.
know we love, yes, we love YouTube University. Life changing. When we watch these videos, I like, it's always funny because the people presenting will be like, okay, so the first thing you have to do is pat your hair into four sections. So it's never like one big section. It's never like just pour the hair lotion in your head and just like mix it up. It's like, no, you first have to part your hair into four sections or even smaller, and then you have these like tiny little hair bands that you use, and then to make sure you secure all those sections, and you have one that's untied, and then you then start that whole process. And I'm realizing that that does take time. And so I guess being a busy woman, that can be, if time is of your essence, it can be troublesome, right? Because, like, as you said, someone else might look at it and say, I think you just need to create time for your hair, because one, it is your hair. um but I can see it from your viewpoint to say, even if we do know how to do our hair and manage our hair, it's still it's still a factor that at least you probably be spending. I don't know. I think for me, I spend, if I do my hair really well, like probably from, I don't know, let's say like maybe detangling. If I want to do it really well, it would probably take me an hour plus to get my hair done. And so it's one of those things where
Mhm.
I'm either listening to a podcast, watching a movie, And it's sort of like my me time, and I don't have to be somewhere. So it's a yeah, so it can be a lot, because the other method is that the old ways. I don't know if I should call them the old ways, but traditional ways where, like, as we just mentioned, growing up, it was just like, okay, we're gonna go to the hair salon, and we're going to put your hair in braids. Or my mom was just like, we're just gonna cut it. We're just gonna cut it. And I wonder if we're just preventing ourselves from actually getting to know what it takes to look after our hair, and just trying to make it manageable, versus, well, this is how you actually look after your hair. This is how long it actually takes. So, yeah.
But that's an interesting point because sometimes I do wonder, do we as Africans even know how to take care of our hair? Like even the hairstylist, like I feel like now there's much more knowledge and stuff about natural hair. So you can go to like hair salons and stuff that are more dedicated to like natural hair. So they are really gentle with the hair. They're not tugging, they're not pulling. They know how to detangle it and things like that. Growing up, like a lot of the hairstylists we went to, I don't know, it's like becomes like just tug and pull. They just plow through your hair. And
Yo,
I think we all felt like that was normal. Like for me, I felt that
exactly.
was
Yep.
normal.
Yeah, like
Because
it was
someone just
like,
plows through your hair with a hair dryer and everything. And you can't plow through our hair when it's, particularly if it's a natural part, because
mm-hmm,
it's coily or kinky or whatever. And you just can't do that and things like that. And they just part it like with no patience. And now with the natural hair community and everything coming out, it's a thing. It's become a thing of you have to be gentle when you do stuff. You just can't break through someone's hair, parting, do everything like properly, gently and stuff like that. And they're saying that's a huge like cause of hair breakage is how you handle your hair, how you
mm-hmm,
manipulate your hair. And in a lot of salons back home, and it's in Kenya's, people are just very rough because there's so many of them around, right? So many hair salons, but the people are just so rough, and it's like it's a business. They go in, you do that and do that. So in my head, I'm like, could that be part of the reason why there's a lot of people like in general? I don't know how it is in Zambia, but in Kenya, there's kind of this notion of, oh, like our hairs don't grow long. Is that part
mm,
of the reason why? Because we actually don't know how to take care of our hairs because we're not doing it. Like the most majority of the hair salons are not doing it unless you go to an expensive salon that's for only natural hair, which most people cannot afford to. Like
mm-hmm,
I feel like
mm,
I feel like we just don't know how to take care of our hair. That's why, like now, when I go back home, I have to be very specific. Like check which hair place I go to because I just can't go to any of them because they will literally just go through your hair, plow through it, and everything. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, I thought that was normal. But then it's funny because, and then also thinking that was normal. The other thing I thought it was normal was your head hurting for 2 or 3 days after you get braids in.
I
Oh,
know. Yeah.
OMG. Like I
OMG.
remember like I would take Tylenol or we would call it Panadol. I
Uh-uh.
would take that like every day for the next 3 days because my scalp would be, it feels like it's pulsating. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was normal. And then I came to now in the States and I think when I had like a black American do my hair and stuff like that. And she was so gentle. And then when she finished, it was very neat, but it was not hurting. And I was like, huh? I was like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Your hair doesn't have to hurt or pulsate after braids? And I was like, mind blowing. And then they started saying, oh, if it's too tight, it can cause traction alopecia. So you're going to start losing hair. Do we know any of this back home?
I
Because
know.
this is what we do
Yeah.
where hair is too tight. They plow through your hair. Or another thing they do is, when they're massaging the hair, you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to use the tips of your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they use the nails. It's not
Yeah.
the not the tips of the fingers.
Ah,
It's the nails because it's supposed to
yeah.
be the soft part, and then your hair, your scalp is getting scratched with
Yeah. Oh wow.
nails. And in my head,
Yeah.
I was just like, I remember when I went to Nigeria and I went to the hair salon. I told her, "Can you please use?" Because she started using the tips. I was like, "No, no, no." I mean, she started using her nails. I'm like, "Use the soft part, the tips of your finger."
Yeah.
Like, because what you're doing is just scratching my scalp. You're not like helping any like move. You're not helping massage it or anything like that. I just feel like our hair practices, we don't know that, and I don't know where this stems from. Because I
Mhm.
know I really don't know the history of where this stems from. Maybe we
Mhm.
just never stop to think about it. But I'm like, maybe that's what's preventing people's hairs from going so long because we just a baseline we
Mhm.
got it wrong.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah. No, no, I agree with you 100%. It's funny. The other thing that I see that just makes me like cringe, or it makes me want to go up to the person, which I don't do, is when I see ladies walking with dry hair. Like I can tell the hair needs moisture. And for some reason, yeah, no, for some reason, I don't know, we adopted, and I think I did as well earlier on, this culture where like if I put in like some hair moisturizer on Monday, the next time I'm going to put in hair moisturizer is like maybe next Monday, or like, like 2 weeks from Monday, or maybe a month. Like I've seen people have this attitude of like, if I get my hair done
Hmm.
today, then I should not be able to touch it until after a month or so. And so, and even this idea of like people are having these like protective hairstyles, whether it's braids, cornrows. It's like it doesn't change the fact that at some point you will need to moisturize your hair. Like, yes, you've put it in braids,
Or
but
wash it.
yes, yes, at some point you need to wash that hair, because just because you put it in this protective hairstyle and maybe you spend so much money or you spend so much time, it doesn't take, like, the hair is still the hair and it still needs the same love, the same attention that you would have given it, if it was not in this particular hairstyle. Like, and that for me has been a life changer, that I'm not protecting a hairstyle over the health of my hair. So like if you
Right.
realize, yeah, like if you realize that it's been 2 weeks and now your head is itchy and it's asking for water and some soap, it's time to get your hair wet and put it in water and soap. That's just an opinion I have, but for some reason we just kind of like are like, oh yeah, I'll get my hair done after 3 months. And I, like I said, when I was in college, I wasn't paying attention. But at least one thing I did is I made sure my hair was washed, and like I
Hmm.
I put in some moisturizer, but I wasn't as consistent. So and it's like people are going around and I'm like, oh wow, like, lady, your hair needs some moisturizing, like just some moisture, just give it just a little bit. I'm just like, why are we still doing this? And but as you said, it seems like we're in this world of information, but when it comes to our hair, we are still, we yeah, we might not be getting it, or it might be taking time. um and I will say though, I have empathy for these people and for people that don't focus on their hair, because I mentioned having a relationship with my hair, and I think I would say my relationship got closer because I just, because when I removed my braids and I was having to deal with my own hair, I could easily see when my hair would start getting itchy. Like I could tell, like, okay, it's been a week. I need to wash my hair.
Hmm.
And then I think after 3 days, I would tell that my hair was losing moisture and I would have to re-moisturize my hair. So then as I kept on doing this and just making it a practice, it almost seemed like a joke, or even like I was super surprised. Like, I can't believe I did not add like a hair lotion after a month, because after 3 days I could just see the difference with my hair.
Hmm.
Um, so, but then I don't know if I would have known that if I didn't spend time with my hair. But like you said, if you also don't have the time to spend time with your hair, I don't know how you get to learn just how your hair behaves and what it needs. And even like choosing the products that would really work, for our hair. It's like it's a bit of a learning process there.
It's a lot of learning process. There's just so much about hair to talk about. Because something else about hair, like doing the whole natural hair movement thing, is someone mentioned it. A couple people mentioned it, in which it's initially you were seeing a lot of people who are biracial or
Mm,
something really heralding this movement of accepting your natural hair and all that stuff. And yet they're the ones who tend to have like the curly hair. They don't. So you weren't seeing a lot of people with type 4 hair represented in the, like when you think about natural hair influences initially starting out, and that's when a lot more now type 4 people started getting more involved, because it was like when people think natural hair they think about curly hair, and it's like, yeah, well, for some people of course that's their natural hair, but they're missing a whole bunch of people with type 3
mm,
type 4 hair, because that became a big issue. Because I remember like initially like looking for like when you're looking for different social media influencers to like get tips and tricks and treats as to what to do and how to make your hair. I remember
mm-hmm,
looking at people, and then someone, some random, I don't remember who I watched, but I watched something on YouTube, and she was like, make sure when you're actually getting advice from people on YouTube, make sure you get advice from someone who has hair that looks as closely as possible to yours. Because
good point.
if you're looking at someone whose hair is totally different from yours, and they tell you, oh, this is what they do, or do this or do that, is that going to work for you? I mean, most likely not. And even the person whose hair is closest to yours, not everything they say or will might work for you or will work for you, or you might find someone might have a perfect regimen for you, but its chances are the things are going to be different. So it's about using discernment and actually figuring out what works for you. That was a
Mm,
whole other thing, because when they would, a lot of times when they would represent the natural hair community, it would be light skinned women with curly hair. You wouldn't see darker skinned women with kinky hair.
mm,
And so it became a thing of, and I think that's when people started being like, no, 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 you have to actually include, like, we also have natural hair. And I think that's why it's a whole thing of, it's a whole other, I think we could talk about this in another day about how
mm.
natural hair is perceived
Oh, yeah.
now, like in the community and
Yeah. I was
at
actually going to
work.
No, sorry. I was actually going to ask you about that, like in terms of even a hairstyle, like
Hmm.
what are the default natural hairstyles? Is there an agreement amongst ourselves to say this, because now since natural hair is becoming more common, is there an agreement to say if you put your like if you do your hairstyle this way, like for example you mentioned you want to have this sort of like sleek ponytail, do you need a sleek ponytail to consider yourself presentable to the world, to yourself? Because, like, for example, if you just, let's say you took out your braids. Right now you have braids, but you took them out. You washed your hair. However, your hair came out once you get out of the shower. Would you be comfortable presenting yourself to the world with that hairstyle, or would you have to manipulate it? um, to go out there.
That's a good question. So, do I need a sleek ponytail? No. And I've always been someone who, I never actually achieved the actual sleek ponytail. Let's be real. It's too much work. But
Ah,
it's too much work. But here's
yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me triggered when I think about this. And yes, I love this person, but my sister is one of those people who should just be like, "How will you leave the house like that?" Like, because my sister was more of the aficionado for natural hair before me, and
Mm,
so I think she had this thing of, "Oh, I know about hair better than Zelda." I mean, she probably did back then, but now I definitely know enough for myself. But she'd be like, "How would you like?" She's like, "How can you leave the house like that?" Like, she's the kind of person who would sleek her hair down
mhm,
properly. And I felt like I got some criticism from her for like, why would you leave your hair like that? And um and then you also see it from like, you see it like on different shows and stuff like that. People like feel like this pressure to have it a certain way. I didn't. Like, my hair was, it was always presentable, but it wasn't like sleeked down completely. I think for me
mm,
the biggest thing is, do I like how I look in that style? If I
mm,
like how I looked in the style, that's when it became an issue. If I liked how I
mm,
looked in that style. And so how I got around sleeking my hair, as funny as this may sound, is like braiding it in the front. Like, I would do like maybe individual like braids and stuff,
mhm,
like big ones, or I would maybe do like a rope twist or something, like flat twist. Like, I found a way so that I don't have to, so the front is still flat, but
mhm.
it's not like sleek. Like, I found a way because
Yeah,
legitimately it was hard, but I feel like there is a pressure. Like, people look like, you see it on social media all the time. Like,
yeah.
people are kind of criticizing, why did you come out with the hair like that? Or there was someone, I think there was a H&M advert or something like that, in
Oh,
which
yeah.
there was a girl whose her hair was not, she has natural hair. It looked like it was 4C hair, but she hadn't like combed the edges. She
The
hadn't slicked down
edges.
the edges, and it
Yeah,
became a whole thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
honestly speaking, that's how there's some people out there who think like that, who are like, you need everything needs to be perfectly in place. But why do your edges have to be slicked? Like, my edges are rarely slicked down, but I usually
Mhm,
comb them. Like, I usually like just brush them and make sure they're neat.
mhm,
But it's things, I think there's definitely like a standard with we and I feel like it's a fake standard, but it's a standard that we kind of push on ourselves to, like, we have to look like this, you have to be like that.
mhm.
What was your second question? Was it, how is it?
Yeah, no, I was just like, no, you've answered it. You've answered it. It was basically, are they default hairstyles for natural hair? Or, is it whatever you think is good to you, like good looking in terms of hair, to you? So no, you answered that.
But I feel like also something that's interesting is, because the more adventurous you are with your hair, like, I don't think I have the guts to. Well, I don't have the guts to, but also, I just don't like how I look at an afro. Like, there are people who go out
Yeah.
in an afro, and an afro gets a lot of attention. And I'm
Mm,
someone who, I like to fly under the radar.
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
always been that's always been my thing. So, like, when you ask, like, do I just leave it like that in its natural state? Well, no. The reason why I don't leave it in natural state is, one, a wash and go. I've tried that once, and the issue is combing it out afterwards. Oh,
Mhm.
MG, like detangling it. The process was
Mhm.
horrible because it's so like easy for you to get tangled up. So that's why I wouldn't even bother doing that. And then two, I
Mm,
just didn't necessarily like how it looked per se.
mm.
Um, like, I mean, for like, it was not the kind of style that suits me. I think if you're picking up on it, I just like holding my hair in a bun. That's my
Yeah.
that's my
Okay.
style. I just hold hair in a bun and I leave it.
Yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, certain styles are more polarizing than others. And afro is like, can be polarizing sometimes. Like, I don't feel any issue going with my natural hair to work, but I wouldn't wear it. I would be hesitant to wear it as an afro at work,
Mm.
because I feel like people might say, "Oh, it's unprofessional," or people won't know how to take it. Like, if I go with my hair, natural hair, then it has like a big poofy bun. I mean, that's still much more acceptable, and people might not question it as much as
as an
the
afro.
an afro. It's same thing
Yeah.
like bantu knots. Like I really want to try this hair, like hairstyle with bantu knots and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's one of those things in which, for me at least, as a physician,
Mhm.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can wear that at work, just because
Mm.
that might be a little bit. I think this is one of my biggest pet peeves with being a physician is I feel like we're kind of artistically deprived. Like in a sense that there's a
Mm.
certain people have a certain image of how you're supposed to look and behave like as a physician. That if you
Mhm.
come in with all these expression and all these different hairstyles, hair color, hair this, it's like becomes like what is it? Like people have this traditional outlook of how you're supposed to look. And it's one of my pet peeves with the thing, because honestly, I do want to try a bantu knot like with hair and like big.
Mhm.
I really want to do that, but I know I
Yeah.
have to do it on a week when I'm off work because I
Yeah.
can't go to work with that. Like people will be like, my physician is coming in bantu knot.
Yeah.
They probably look at me like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I would be like, and and you're saying, yeah, and you have to go to surgery, and I'm like, this is the person telling me you have to go to
That
surgery.
you have to go to surgery.
I'm like, are
And
you?
I feel like it's an unfair thing. Like I feel like we should get ourselves to a point in this world in which someone's artistic portrayal of themselves is not really going to be what determines their capability or of handling a situation or
Mm.
like their credit or their merit. I understand where people are coming from, but people need to start branching out and
Mm.
thinking, opening up their mind. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, because sometimes it's just, it feels a little bit stifling, like when you can't fully express yourself in certain ways. And like with hair, like in hair, I think I can definitely express myself with locks and stuff. I think locks would be fine for me. But it's just certain hairstyles that have to, like one of the things I want to try is Fulani braids, but with
Mm.
the beads. Girl, I don't think I could go with those beads to
Yeah.
work. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how it would be perceived.
Yeah,
Like,
no, those are very good points. About I like the phrase you've used, artistic expression, because it's something that I'm sure, even including myself, you find that coworkers will ask you. So let's say if one week you had long hair, and then the other week all of a sudden your hair is short, and they're like, "Did you cut your hair?" I switch from like having extensions, like a weave extension, to my natural hair, which is similar because I just like the look. Um, but when I make those changes, I I get questions from my coworkers or people who know me, and I usually tell them the truth and say no, I didn't cut my hair. And now honestly, I'm even getting to the point where I just honestly express to them and say I had extensions, because at this point I don't want to, I don't know, lie. I don't see the point, and then I'm just like, yeah, this is 2023. This is how I manage my hair. Like, so, and and actually, it brings me to this idea of how, I don't know, how free are we to bring people who do not understand our hair into these conversations. Like,
mm,
I know. Growing up, at least my interpretation was that you don't ask, let's say, a black woman about her hair, or and say, "Is that your hair?" Like, I know some people would ask the question, "Is that your hair?" And I don't know now if people even still ask that question. And even if they
right.
did, I think for me now, I'm at a place where I'm comfortable enough to say, no, these are extensions, and I don't feel I don't feel any type of way saying that these are extensions, because I'm like, yes, I do have hair beneath this weave, or so I don't feel uncomfortable because I'm like, I can always remove them. But I'm sure some people might feel uncomfortable um, expressing that to people.
I think it's such a complex topic because it depends on how you feel about your hair as well, because some people
Mm.
get triggered if they're wearing a wig or a weave and someone realizes that this is not their hair, this is like a wig or a weave, but someone will be like, no, but it's my hair, like, and like
Ah,
technically it's your hair, like you bought
like
it
you
and
bought
all
it.
that. But
Yeah. Yep.
like people, but I feel like if you're insecure about your hair,
You that's a good
that
point.
really is going to bring up, like, if people react like that, it's going to really trigger you, because it's the same thing with wigs and stuff. I mean, I'm not the biggest wearer of wigs.
Mm.
I don't, but I think there might be a really cool protective style, to be honest. It's something I'm actually considering venturing into more. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a huge thing in the natural hair community also, in which there's these hardcore natural hair stylists who are like, why are you hiding your hair beneath a
Yeah.
wig? Is it because you're embarrassed of your about your hair? And there's like two people are honest with themselves. There are people who literally wear wigs and never wear the natural hair because they're embarrassed about how their natural hair looks.
Mm.
There are people like that, because
Yeah.
now with the natural hair, like, because if you look at the wig, they have this, I don't know, Brazilian wave. It looks like they have long hair and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
then if you remove the wig and you just see them with the natural hair, it's like another whole other different people.
Yeah, it's
There
enough.
are also people who wear wigs obviously as protective style. And for me, I've always wanted to be someone who wears it as a protective style. But that's part of the reason why I haven't ventured into wearing wigs, because I've really been trying to love my own hair and learn
Mm.
how to wear it in ways that I enjoy, because I don't want to just be hiding beneath a wig.
Mm.
Because it's a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, and I guess it's coming full circle with this conversation around, do we even know how to look after our own hair? And so because I remember when growing up, I think when my hair was out, and let's say I just left it out, maybe I needed to comb it or whatever. Um I remember my mom would say like, "Okay, what are we gonna do with this hair?" Um, so at the time, it wasn't about like, "Oh, can you go get a comb and comb your hair?" I mean, in some instances, yes, I could go up, go to my room and get a comb and comb it, but it always seemed like you need to like hide your hair, or you need to, in my case, cut it. So there wasn't like this intermediate like middle step of like, hmm, your hair needs detangling, and your hair needs moisture, and your hair needs, because I think as soon as you know how your hair behaves, like for example, we have talked about this, like 4C hair, like for your hair, because it shrinks a lot, it makes so much sense that your hair would be better suited to be in braids than just leaving it out, because if you constantly washed it, you would be facing shrinkage, and I don't know, by the time you actually get your hair stretched out, it will be forever. Might take forever, it seems.
Mm,
um but at least now you know, so like you're not, so you're, as you just said it, you're not having extensions just because you don't want to expose your natural hair, but you're allowing your hair to, be kept in this protective hairstyle to just help you manage it. So I think you have an understanding. So if for whatever reason they had to take away extensions and you have to remain with your natural hair, you will be fine. But yeah, but I'm just thinking for the people who don't actually know what to do with their hair, their go-to is like, oh, I have to hide my hair. I have to braid it because without it, then I've lost my identity.
mm,
Um, so maybe it's that part again where we need to start educating ourselves about our hair, and then
yeah.
accepting accepting um our hair for what it is. Because like for me, the one
That's
thing,
a huge thing.
what's that?
That's a the accepting is a huge thing because you know how you're saying like maybe they'd be more if you know if you knew how to take care of their hair, then maybe they'd be more comfortable like wearing it without a wig.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it.
Mm,
That's just one part of it. The question is, do you actually feel beautiful when you're in your natural hair? Like you have
mm,
to really be able to accept your hair at the current state it's in. Like if it's is it short, medium, whatever, like do you actually feel beautiful in it like that? Because if you don't, fine, you can know actually how to take care of it, but just because you know how to take care of it doesn't mean you want to wear it like that because you don't like how you look.
oof, yeah, that's a good point. That's actually you're reminding me. So on my journey, when I first, especially when I first started out, I did not like shrinkage. Oof, like it was that thing of where I would probably have straightened my hair out, maybe done a press, a silk press. I think in the US they call it a silk press or a flat iron. But anyway, and then it would be time to wash my hair and just get have a new hairstyle. Um, and after getting my hair washed, I would see the shrinkage. And I remember trying to buy products that were anti-shrinkage. Any product that said anti-shrinkage, I would like I would be like, I'm buying this product so that it can save my life. Um,
I didn't.
and it didn't. These products did not necessarily like, because in my head I'm thinking, if I use this product, my hair is not going to shrink. Um, and then I just realized, no, wait a minute. My DNA, it's already written that my hair is supposed to like shrink, like it naturally coils up. And I was just like, why am I? It just dawned on me, like, why am I trying to remove, like, to avoid shrinkage? But I think I had it in my mentality that somehow shrinkage means short hair and short hair means not beautiful hair. and
Mm,
and so like, and I just kept on trying until I let it go, and I just said, you know what, my hair just it shrinks, and that's totally fine. And I'm actually realizing, for me, it's a sign of good healthy hair, in the sense that whenever I go for my split ends, just to trim my split ends, shout out to everybody who is trimming their split ends, because that's going to promote hair growth. You are doing an amazing job. For those that don't even know what split ends, we're just gonna pray for you.
Google it.
It is a very necessary thing to do. But so whenever I have my split ends removed, my hair curls up even way more, because it's like the healthy part of my hair is like super happy, and you can see. So acceptance is very real. Um and until one of my hairstylists was saying, healthy hair is not about length, it's about how you treat it. And it
Hmm.
started to dawn on me, like, forget about shrinkage. It's just how your natural hair behaves. If you want to stretch out your hair, you can stretch out your hair, you can blow dry it, whatever. But whenever it gets to its natural state, just love it. Like, so so you just reminded me of that. Like, you have to, like, accepting your hair is a major step in just, yeah, loving yourself, as I guess.
We can honestly go on about hair. There'll definitely be a part two about hair because
Yes.
there's a lot to talk about hair. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, there is. I know there is so much, but I thought we should just get started with this conversation. Um, if there's something that triggers us to talk more about it, as you said, there are some issues where it's complex, and we're not trying to paintbrush on everybody. Everybody has their own hair story, why they do what they do. So this is just sort of our general I guess, ideas so far, and just what we have been facing, and for me it's just been the interactions I've had. So I just wanted to just share and just see what thoughts you had, and then and also uh we would love to hear what your opinion is on hair. um if you guys would like to share your stories, or have any feedback for us, we would love to know. You can send your feedback at the feminine outliers at gmail.com. So that's it for this week. Um, we look forward to hearing from you guys. And don't forget to send us what you are learning. We would love to share with the rest of the family what you are learning, and as we keep growing together. So until next time, have fun, live large,
Live large
and don't be,
and don't be
be
afraid
afraid to be
to
an
be an
outlier.
outlier. We tried, guys.
I know we tried. We're trying. We're trying. But we love you though. Until next time. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.